We do videos about events in Malta and also travel videos all over the world.
Hello viewers, and I'm in Mdina today, where there is a city. This is a city of silence. It's a city of history. So it's known as the Silent City, but it's also known as the city of Game of Thrones. In Game of Thrones, various things were filmed here. So let's walk and see. So we're going to see parts of Mdina. I'm going to enter through the main gate. And here in the main gate is basically where it's the site of Catelyn and Ned Stark's farewell in Game of Thrones. You see the Mdina ditch here. Let's see the other side. It's been restored. This is the main gate. You see the flag. As soon as you enter, first thing that we notice on the left, okay, there is the Torre dello Stendardo. So that is the 18th century signaling tower, and over here the flags, the colors of the knights were flown. This was a watchtower built during the reign of Grand Master Antoine de Villena as part of the Baroque reorganization of the city's entrance. It replaced an earlier tower known as Torre Mastra, which also served as a signaling station. And this was designed by the resident military engineer of the Order of St. John. Now, before I bore you, let's look on the other side. On the other side there is the National Museum of Natural History. So this is another museum. It's worth visiting if you have the time. I won't be showing you the inside of the museum of the Senora. And you can pass. There's also here another experience, the Mdina Dungeons Museum. So again, something else you can have a look. Also interesting things here. The dungeons will be unlocked every day from 10 AM to 4 PM. I don't know right now they are open or not during the pandemic, but I think they are. This is not recommended for children. They have their own dungeons, face mask for sale. Okay. Now back to the museum, National History Museum here. This is also interesting. This was the palace of the Grand Masters. Okay, it's known as the Palace of the Grand Masters. You can see there's also an ATM. One of those ATMs, you have to be careful because it converts the exchange rate, so you have to be careful. The entrance is here. Alright. And then you exit back here. Okay, so here at least they left this cannon. They didn't remove it. It's nice to see. And here we have the Apostle Saint Paul. Here in Mdina we'll find statues of Saint Paul, Saint Agatha and Saint Publius. There's your police station. And here we have Mdina Glass. Mdina Glass is closed. at the moment. So let's go through Ingwanet Street. It's a very narrow street. It might be one of the narrowest in Europe. You can see it's quite narrow, just with your whole arms you can basically reach the side. So yes, it's quite narrow. These streets have seen history. Perhaps you can't visit Mdina right now, you're abroad, and because of the pandemic you can't come. So today I'm bringing it to you. I've planned this for a while. So the other direction. More wooden balconies here. Some work seems to be going on here. Sicilian logo.
I took these photos when Game of Thrones was being filmed in Mdina some years ago. I hope you enjoyed them. We continue in a couple of seconds. And that's how it looked while it was being filmed. So let's go on.
Windows and buildings. This used to be a watchtower. So now let's go through Mesquita Street. This will lead to another scene from Game of Thrones, a popular location. It's Mesquita Square, a very different name than Game of Thrones, of course. The Mdina experience, which you can find here, and so this was the scene of Little Fingers brothel, Little Fingers brothel, or whorehouse, or bordello in Game of Thrones.
Huh? A very funny man.
Ned! It's funny how they change the square and make it look so different, but still the same square.
So this was another important location in Game of Thrones. Grotto Street. Palazzo Santa Sofia, we're going to see that. It's a large medieval town, one of the oldest dwellings in Mdina. It's a Gothic Chiaramonte architectural style, with the coat of arms of the Santa Sofia family. And we're going to see also the Church of St. Peter in Chains, which you can see here. This is the Church of St. Peter in Chains. It was rebuilt around the turn of the 17th century to replace a dilapidated earlier church recorded as existing on site in 1575. And in the same year this church was built. Throughout 30 years, it was still unfinished in 1615. So, review that. Right, the other exit I just showed you a few minutes ago, that is actually a magazine curtain. It's a casemated rampart situated along the western flank of Mdina's enceinte. It's not a gate. It was built in 1720s to replace a section of obsolete medieval wall. Okay, so it provided quick and direct access to the railway station. It was built immediately outside Mdina, below Tarka. Right, so that's the church of St. Peter in Chains. Old Priory. This is Santa Sofia. Am I filming? Yes, I'm filming. Good morning. Morning. Thank you for your service. Anyway, so let's see what else we can find. Peace balcony. A statue of Our Lady. Right. Notice about masses for the dead. So we're going to walk to this street now, showing the streets. We found the old priory again. Let's walk here now. Let's see what we find here. People are complaining about the cold. It is a bit cold. Medieval tavern. Mdina experience. Medieval tavern. Security camera. Yeah. Mdina. Currently it's a restaurant. And here we are. Look here. So here we're in basically the arch Mdina Square, main square, the city of the town really, and we have the church of Saint Peter and Paul, the cathedral, Mdina. Thumbnail. This is a good thumbnail. Other old phone box from the time of the British. It's good that we keep these. Here were some points, some notes. Right, so down here. There's a townhouse, Palazzo Testaferrata Ponici, and there's also the armory in front of each other, right? You can see these. And that's the Palazzo Museums. Or is it the next building? Because some other building here. 29. got Mosquito Street. In fact, here this is the Palazzo Bonici, and the armory was supposed to be in front, so the armory should be, but this is a restaurant, a cafe, so this would be the armory really. Anyway, it seems that that's the armory, but I cannot tell for sure. On the map it's in front. There's free Wi-Fi in the square. Take a moment to appreciate the beauty of this cathedral, and I'll give you some information about it. Okay, so some information. This is the Metropolitan Cathedral of St. Paul. Il-Katedral Metropolitan ta' San Paul, Maltese, that's how we say it. It originally was known as the St. Paul's Cathedral, or Mdina Cathedral, being a Roman Catholic cathedral of Mdina, Malta, having named or being dedicated to St. Paul the Apostle. During the 12th century it was officially founded. In accordance with the tradition, it was built on the site of where the Roman governor Publius met St. Paul after his shipwreck in St. Paul's Bay, Malta. This cathedral was severely damaged during the 1693 Sicily earthquake. It was dismantled and rebuilt in a Baroque style to the taste design of the Maltese architect Lorenzo Gaffa between 1696 and 1705. It's regarded as Gaffa's masterpiece. So having looked at that, I'm going to walk now on the right, where I'm thinking that, from what I researched, there is another interesting building. This is Archbishop Square, by the way. And here, close to the cathedral, we find this square, if you can call it a little square, and there's this plaque about Marcus Tullius Cicero, who was a famous lawyer, quaestor and consul of Rome, and he used to live here in this town, in the house of his Maltese friend Licinius Aristoteles. So let's go here, let's look at this. Here we have the Cathedral Museum. Okay, hope you're enjoying this scenery, and let's look at this explanation. Okay, so this is attached basically to the Metropolitan Cathedral of St. Paul, as I mentioned earlier, and there's the Archbishop's Palace here. This is the Archbishop's Palace. It was the residence of the bishop in Mdina, built on the site of an older building to the design of the Maltese architect Lorenzo Gaffa. finally, after various delays, and it was completed in 1720 after Gaffar's death. And the seminary, so that's the Cathedral Museum. It's also a seminary complex built in 1733 in the French Baroque style, commissioned by Monsignor Paolo Alferan de Bussan, Bishop of Malta. The design is attributed often to Charles Francois de Mondion, but the actual architect remains unknown. Okay, so we're seeing this building of the seminary, building. It's also the site of the Cathedral Museum. It's also the site of the Cathedral Museum. Okay, so let's walk on. I read about an old court of law which was in Mdina, but doesn't seem to be something you can easily find. Most cars cannot enter Mdina, but if you're a resident, apparently you can drive. I don't know what this building is. There's nothing written, and it's not easy to tell, not even from Google Maps. Anyway. Let's go to Mosquito Street. This part is again really narrow. Right, so I came back here near the cathedral. This building actually is the old courts of law with the motto Legibus et Armis, and that was the motto. I researched that. The Banca Giuratale is an 18th century public building, so nowadays they're using this name, Banca Giuratale, instead of old court courts of law, built between 1726 and 1728 to house the city's administrative council and law courts. It was designed by Charles Francois de Mondion. It's a high Baroque edifice built on the site of an old municipal armory and nearby building housing the city's archives. For a number of years the building was used as the administrative center of the local government of Mdina, and now it houses part of the National Archives of Malta. Sometimes that's why you can't find a building, because you might have found a reference to it using a different name. And this is the Casa del Magistrato, the magistrate's house. Another old building here. Here again you can see a cannon. Old house. Mdina Cathedral. It's closed right now. This is Sunday in January. Cold Sunday. This is St. Dorothy's Convent. Okay, so here we have a Palazzo Falca. We can see it here next to the convent. That's Palazzo Falca, a 19th century Baroque townhouse built following the 1693 earthquake. By 19th century it became the property of Giovanni Parisio Moscati, who donated the building to the Jesuits to open a school in Mdina, and then it was acquired by the Sisters of St. Dorothy, who established it as a boarding school for girls. Right, we have also the site of the Church of Our Savior, which was dismantled in 1832 and then remodeled. We have also the Church of Saint Roch. So, Church of Saint Roch and the site of the Church of Our Savior. Let's go to see the site of the Church of Our Savior first. Or some else, which is something else. This is the Palazzo de Piro Cultural Center with a cafe and bistro. Here, Monsignor Giuseppe de Piro. Giuseppe de Piro was born, and he lived basically. He used to take care of the poor. And he's the founder of the Missionary Society of St. Paul. This plaque, it's just in Maltese, sadly. So I hope you're enjoying this interesting video on Mdina, which used to be our capital city before Valletta. Soon I will see that the remains of that church, they should be found here. Meanwhile, here there's Fontanella. If you fancy having a good tea cake or some other food or pastries, they have some excellent food recommended. Okay, so here we find the Church of Saint Roch. It's the Church of Saint Roch. Let's investigate. I'm going to find the remains of the Church of the Savior. And here it is, the statue marks the remains. So the statue marks the remains of the church of the Savior. Next, let's walk on and we will see. You can walk.
And then I done another one. And you want to go to here? Go to here.
So here you have a very beautiful view, which perhaps not everyone appreciates while they're here. Beautiful views in Mdina. On this side, on the other side, we have views of the other towns in the area, roads, cars. That's in Tarfa over there, seeing the clock here tower. So this is Bastion Street, Street Sur. Am I filming? Yes, I'm filming. Have a good view here. I also use this to view. And we come to Bastion Square, Piazzata Sur, Bastion Square. There's this interesting, I think it was an old, this is an old well actually, it used to be a well. No information really. Anyway. But if you don't mind, I'll film and I'll say there is a very good museum here. I haven't seen it actually. It's called the Knights of Malta, right? It's an epic adventure experience. Recommended by UNESCO and Malta Tourism Authority, saying quality assured, so I believe them, you know. Making a video about Mdina, so you know, perhaps people will see the video and they'll come to your museum. Perhaps I'll come myself later on when the numbers are a bit lower. Thank you. Ciao. Have a nice day. Thank you. With the beautiful trees here. I passed it, but I didn't even notice the trees. And that's the St. Peter, the Church of St. Peter in Chains. So, glad you are enjoying it. Remember to subscribe. If you want to receive notifications of new videos, click also the notification bell. I'd appreciate if you would give a thumbs up for this video. Okay, so like it, and please share it with your friends. Help people get to know of my channel. Thank you so much for your comments. Thanks to all of you who have been commenting, including Mario from Australia and many others. So let's see what else we can see here. But I guess we've seen the majority of this streets in Mdina. Very nice houses. Casa magazzini. The old Jewish silk market. This is the old Jewish silk market. Right. And this is the old Greek bordello. Why is it missing the EL? I don't know. Habitat. Some stuff in Greek. Interesting. I don't know anything about that, I just saw it. If you know what it is. Was it an old bordello? Perhaps you can let me know in the comments. I appreciate your comments. Please do comment. It's nice to comment. You need a YouTube account to comment. If you have a Google account, that's easy to create. Nice horseshoe on this building. Anyway. Soon. You see the walls of Mdina here. I'm going to end this video here. Say bye for now from Malta Resources in Mdina, Malta, and see you on the next video, which you can see on your left here or on your right. There are videos here you can watch and see on those videos.